Welcome back to the Crossroad Diecast Speed Shop. In this week's episode, I'm outside the shop with our shop project manager, Millicent, and we are waiting for the arrival of this week's build. And I think I hear the truck coming now. And here it is. It is a 1969 Chevy Camaro, and it's going to be the car that we use for the Four Horsemen May 2024 Indy Pace car. And so let's get this thing off the truck and into the shop. All right, well, we're in the shop. We have our 69 Chevy Camaro convertible taken apart. Again, the 69 Camaro was part of the first generation of Camaros that were built from 1967 to 1969. They were considered pony cars because of the big horsepower motors, at least for that time, in them, and for the smaller car lighter car that they were. Again, this is a convertible. It's going to be the car that we use for our pace car build for the Four Horsemen. So let's take a look at the car and see what we've got. Got a little bit of the cowling on the top there. You can see right here. And but again, we're going to strip this all down. This car probably was originally out of a package that I had gotten recently, and I just put it in with my Camaros. Nice chrome base. Maybe do a little bit of detailing on that. Glass is nice and clean. Again, as I said, I think this was out of a blister. A little bit of stuff in there but not a whole lot in the for the detailing. And of course the PR5 wheels, they'll go. They're nice. I'll put them in with my collection of wheels, and maybe for some other build that I might need at some other time. But those are the parts, what they look like. So let's get on with that project. Once I get the car out of the stripper and get all the paint cleaned off, I usually like to take one of these Scotch-Brite wheels, and I use it just to go over the casting so that I can take off anything else, kind of shine it up, give it a better base for the primer to adhere to, or to even the Spectraflame paints when I use them. Just take your time, go over all the areas really well. You may find as you start looking at it, there might be some areas where there may be some flashing, and in that case what you'll need to do is you'll need to take a file, if you got one, and just touch those areas up a little bit. This one doesn't seem to be too bad as far as flashing goes, but we'll continue to work on this. You can see it shines it up pretty good. Again, you're just trying to shine it up and get the surface prepared. In this case it'll be for Tamiya fine white primer. And so we're going to do that, just like that. So you can kind of see, I'll finish this up and we'll take a look at it after we get it out of the paint. Okay, well, we have our little Camaro convertible all ready for paint. It's all primed up, ready for paint. I'm going to use some of this opaque white from Createx, and I put it in one of these little medicine cup holders. Put a little bit of that into the bottom of that. And then what I do is I add some of this high gloss UVLS to that, and then I take some 4011 reducer, and using a pipette, what I will do is I squirt probably about 4 of those in there. You can tell kind of it's more of a feel sometimes. You can tell, you know, when you see it, it's just a little bit short of, or a little bit more than thick than milk. Not too much though. You can tell like that, and when it drips like that, you got a pretty good mixture for your car. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the plastic interiors. When I do the plastic interiors, sometimes rather than using the acrylic paints on that and stuff, I will use a rattle can, because it's more like a model sometimes. And so like I use a rattle can. On this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this Krylon satin brown boots, because between the white and the black, it's going to be such a contrast, and I didn't want such a sharp contrast. I thought I'd do something that's a little bit softer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that light brown, satin brown from Krylon on that one. And so let's move on. Okay, we're going to put some decals on my Indy pace car, or whatever for the pace car build. And so one of the things I use a little bit of this micro set. And, you can just dip a little bit of a Q-tip swab in there, kind of just to put it over the space where you're going to be putting your decal. By doing that, what that does is it allows the decal to move and slide a lot better. And so here we got these decals right here. And what I do is I usually take the swab, go over it. You'll notice right here by the wheel wells, I left a little extra on there. And the reason I did that was it just makes it a little bit easier when you're applying the decals. And later on, what I'm going to do is I'll put a little bit of the micro sol on there, soften them up, and get them to set real good, leave them for about 24 hours. And then after that, I'll come back in and I'll trim that out once it's dry. So let's move on.
Later.
All right, well, we've got our Indy pace car, or whatever kind of pace car. I guess it's supposed to be a pace car build for 4 horsemen. And again, it was a 69 Camaro. I got the decals from Second Chance Red Lines. Had to modify them because they were meant to put on one with a roof, but I wanted to do a convertible top. And I detailed the taillights red with transparent red from Createx. I wanted the black interior really stuck out. It was really such a stark contrast. I wanted something to be a little bit softer and stuff, so I took and I painted the interior brown. The windshield was, since the car was just out of a blister, I didn't bother to do much with the windshield. It looks fine. I put some nice Samed's 10 spokes on the base, and I just darkened in the front grille for that. So I think we're all ready. So let's get this car put together and onto the turntable. Here is my 4 horseman pace car build for May 2024. Let's take a look at what the car looked like before we did this. And as we look at this, I had a lot of fun with this build. The pace car, for both NASCAR and Indy, has 2 functions. It leads the field through several warm-up laps prior to the race, and it also heads out in front of the field during caution periods to reduce the speeds of the cars. The first use of a pace car in automobile racing was in the inaugural Indy 500 back in 1911. The officials at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway have been selecting a pace car and its driver for the Indy 500 each year since the first race. Just a lot of information I found was the first pace car was a starter Dayton driven by Carl G. Fisher. Well, I really like this pace car and how it came out. I got the decals from Second Chance Red Lines. The wheels are 10 spokes from Sam Ed Wheels. After painting it with Createx opaque white, I added the decals, and then I clear coated it with 2 coats of 2K Clear from Diecast Graveyard. I painted the interior it's called light tan boot color. From Rust-Oleum. I just felt that the black for the interior was just a little bit too stark of a contrast, and I wanted something a little bit lighter on that. And I had a lot of fun with this build, and I hope you'll join us each month as we do these builds and host these builds, and get a picture of your car and on a white background and submit it to 4 Horsemen Diecast at gmail.com at the end of the month, last day of the month, and you'll be featured in a build video, a recap video of the builds. And we're also, when it comes time for doing those, we're also warning those who keep over more and more with horseshoes, a bronze horseshoe for 6 cars that you've entered into it, pictures you've shared since 2023. We also give a silver one for 12, and we give a gold horseshoe for 24 builds that you participated in. Some of you are getting right up there, and that's really great. And so on behalf of Paul at Diecast Graveyard, Andrew at Maple Leaf Customs, Tom at Spork Syndicate, and myself, Skip, at Crossroad Diecast Speed Shop. We want to thank you for joining in and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And as always, God bless, and thanks for stopping by the shop.